everybody. You bunch of scallywags. Hey, everybody, good morning. Bubba here. I ain't got my boots on yet, but I do have a hot cup of coffee. And I'm sure if you're up this early and you're watching this thing, you got you a cup of coffee too. And it's time to start the week right. I know if you're listening to this, you're already getting ready for a big day out there, getting ready to start the week right. First of all, I owe y'all a quick apology for missing last Monday. I was out traveling to see my nephew tie the knot. And from what I can tell, that boy found himself a fine bride. But I'm back and fired up to get us going this morning. Let's see. Is the stream looking all right, boys and girls? Get some background going. Uh-oh. All right. All right. Looks like we got a pretty good week going this week as far as weather. Cool in the mornings in the 40s, 50s, and highs in the 60s and 70s. Near perfect weather for working outside. Looks like we might have some rain coming in toward the end of the week, but it's good enough to get us started. So keep your tarps ready at hand and make sure you're taking care of your tools and the ladder and cover them up, stay dry. Let's get those roll calls going. Tell me where you're running in from and what trade you're representing this morning. I'm just trying to mess around here. Go ahead and touch bases with me. Say hello in the chat. Don't matter to me where you're going, who you are. Just say hello. I'm out here this morning trying to get everybody motivated for another excellent week in the trades. Building this country, making it great. All right. I don't know if I like that either. Gonna use that one right there. Let's see what time we got. It's 5:03. Y'all got your first cup of coffee? Picking up you guys? Are you sitting in the or headed to the shop, getting your tools, getting your materials together, picking up guys? Are you swinging into the quick trip or racetrack to get that morning nutrition and hot coffee? Let me know where you're heading in from and where you're headed to. Tell me what trade you're repping this morning. I'd like to know. I know them old electricians probably still in bed, but you demolition guys, you guys are probably rolling, ready to get there. Anyway, let me know. I'm just messing with you electricians. I'm sure you got another half hour to sleep. All right, well, just a little chill in the air this morning. I don't know if the heat's kicked on in the old homestead here or not. I got a had a yawn. I got a little additional shirt on here as I'm down in the man cave, so it's a little cooler down here. But a little chill in the air just means the coffee tastes better and the work gets done faster. Let's take this week by the horns and ride it where it needs to go, which leads us into the next thing. This week's phrase of the week is taking the bull by the horns. Now, I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with that phrase. You've heard it before. We all know it. Taking the bull by the horns. It means facing challenges head on, not waiting for someone else to fix the problem or make a call. Make the call. You know, so many times on a job site, I've been around a while. On the job site, that's called leadership action. Whether it's stepping up to secure a load before its shift or stopping work to fix a tripping hazard or reminding your buddy to tie off before he climbs. Now, leadership don't have to wear a title. It sure don't. You don't have. I used to get so sick of that phrase. That ain't my job. I ain't supposed to do that. That's not what I get paid for. I call BS on that. Yeah. Boy, these early mornings. How many of y'all out there have trouble with your sinuses first thing in the morning? Getting your sinuses cleared up so you can breathe and function properly. I guess the older I get, the worse it gets too. Anyway, let me know where you're going, what you're doing this morning. Taking that old bull by the horns. Taking that leadership role. You don't have to have title to be a leader. You don't just motivating people. I just got to say, I got a message or something. Motivating people, doing the right thing, looking out for your team members, being on time, all that stuff. That's what leadership is about. It ain't no title. Reminds me, outfit I work for, I'd get on the job an hour, a half hour before it's supposed to start, before people were supposed to arrive. And starting time would roll by. Suppose starting time was 7 o'clock. Well, 7:15, somebody would start showing up, and they'd sit in their truck for 10 or 15 minutes, and it'd be a machine operator. He'd get out, and then by 7:30, the rest of the crew had showed up and just went out and started working, got out of their trucks and did their inspections and threw up their hands at each other and talk. And, by 7:45, they would be working. And then 8:15 or so, the supervisor would roll up, and he'd go from machine to machine, from crew to crew, and stop them and try and tell them how to do things. And it was discombobulated. It was amazing they got anything done. So after a while, I'm covering a pretty good region, the southeast region. They knew that, oh man, this guy's going to be there at least once a day. You had a 4 and 7 shot that any week, any day of the week, I was going to be on your job site at 7 o'clock. And I made notes on that stuff. And before you know it, after time, everybody started showing up on time. And then we had to go through the process of, instead of everybody hopping out and going to work, we had to go through the process of training people to do the PTP meetings and the safety meetings once a week and all that stuff. And it took I would say it took a good year, and I'm talking about how many divisions. I guess there were 5 or 6 divisions I was working in, and each division had, I would say, 4 or 5 crews. So it took a while, and that's with regularly reporting and accountability checks and things like that. Holding people accountable. And it's not about getting them in trouble. It's not about, discipline. It's about doing the right thing. And a lot of guys, they've never had to had discipline to know how important it is to do those kind of things. But anyway, so the reason I described that to you is because I had to take the bull by the horns. I've had an opportunity recently to work with that company, and it seems like so far those lessons have held. And I may have an opportunity soon to work with them again, and we'll in a different division. So we'll see. If not, we'll go back to the training. It's a leadership by example. You can't tell them to start their job every day at 7 o'clock, and then you not be there occasionally at 7 o'clock to see that they're doing it. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It's about initiative. It's about courage. It's about caring enough to act before someone gets hurt. And it's not just on the job, in life too. When you see something slipping, grab it by the horns and guide it back to where it needs to be. Now, leadership, like I said, isn't about power, it's about purpose. The bull respects the man who holds on. Y'all excuse me a second, I gotta make some corrections here. Yeah, it's a sinus is a kid bothering me. All righty. Here we go. Safety snapshot. Let's talk about ladders just a little bit. It's such a common tool on the job. And, and I'll say it. I've said it before. Small height with a big hazard. And when you look at the OSHA reporting, falls are definitely the number one cause of injuries in the construction business. And it's not necessarily falls from heights, guys walking across the floor and slip, guys walking across the floor, an uneven floor, and they trip. That creates the majority of the falls. And there's all kinds of injuries, guys falling and busting their noggin open, hurting their back. That's where a majority of the falls come. So I'll say it again, small height, big hazards. You don't have to fall very far to get hurt. In fact, most serious ladder injuries happen from 6 feet or less. That's an important thing to note. So I'd like to offer up and I know you're on the way to work, you're getting ready to go to work, and if you on your way to work, if you're driving, don't do it, but if you're at a place, send me a message, send me a text, say hello in the chat. Send me a chat and say hello. I'd like to hear from you this morning. I'd like to call you out to others and let them know that you're watching. But you don't have to fall far to get hurt. In fact, most serious ladder injuries happen from 6 feet or less. Here's some reminders while you're out there, and have these conversations with your team members, your fellow workers, and supervisors. Incorporate this into your Monday morning toolbox safety topic meeting today. Always inspect your ladder before use. Look for cracks, and I know you guys have heard it all before. Look for cracks, loose rungs, and or missing feet. Listen, if you see, I'll tell you a story here. I was on a job. Where was I think it was in Decatur, Alabama, and a ladder was broken. It had a bent leg, or the it was a little bracket at the bottom that held it steady. It was broken clean off, and I told the guy to get it off the job site. And well, there was a dumpster down there, and I was working on scaffolding. I watched him throw the thing away. Watched him throw it away. And standing there doing other things, and I noticed that darn ladder disappeared out of that dumpster. And so that kind of like, I told that guy now what I mean. And I got to looking around, and another subcontractor, an employee from another subcontractor, saw him throw that ladder away, and he went and got it out of the dumpster, and he was standing on it and use it. Now that ladder had the company's name I was working on all over it, and it was broken. And I got to thinking, dadgum, that guy, if he was to fall and hurt himself, and I had my company's name was all over that thing, we could be responsible. So here's the lesson: if you're doing an inspection on a ladder, make sure you get it off the job site. Label that thing. And if it's broken, or if it's bad enough that you have to dispose of it, it's just not worth repairing, make sure you destroy that ladder. I mean, cut it down. If it's an aluminum, it shouldn't be an aluminum ladder on a job site anyway. It's got to be fiberglass. It can have some aluminum rungs, I believe, but make sure you destroy that thing, because somebody else will see that and come along and think they might need the ladder, and they could get hurt on it and implicate your company, or something just as bad. So if you see one that's broken, that's probably beyond repair, go ahead and destroy it. Break it up, put it under a track hoe, run over it with a skid steer. I don't know what you got to do. Destroy it before you throw it away, just to prevent somebody else from digging it out of the dumpster and using it on the job site. Now, if it gets thrown in the back of a truck and carried home, I don't care. You hurt yourself at home, that's on your business, but you can't leave yourself exposed. And then, the setup is also important. Make sure you set it up on firm, level ground. And if it's an extension ladder, go ahead and secure it at the top and at the bottom. Sometimes, you may have to cleat it at the bottom to keep it, if it's in a loose base of some sort, gravel or whatever, you may have to, or if it's on a wet concrete floor, if you got the ratio right 4-to-1, you might want to cleat it if it's on a concrete floor, because those little ladder feet have a tendency to walk as you use them, going back and forth and all that. So do your due diligence when you set it up. And then, when you're climbing a ladder, you guys all know this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Make sure you maintain 3 points contact. And you know how it is, 2 feet in one hand, 2 feet. It don't matter, just as long as you maintain 3 points contact. With that being said, pardon me. That being said, that it's impossible to climb a ladder with something in your hand if you're maintaining 3 points contact at all time. I was on a job site, I don't know, a couple months ago, and somebody was climbing a scaffold ladder, and he had, I can't remember what it was. I think it was plastic. He was building some containment. He was an asbestos worker, and he was climbing up that ladder. Man, he'd get up and he'd take his hand off and grab that next rung, and whoa, son, come on down. We didn't let him get that stuff down, then brought him back down to the ground. called his supervisor over, not to get him in trouble, but just so that his supervisor understood that he needed to train not only this young man. And we had conversation. It wasn't a beat him up kind of thing. It was just to have a conversation with him, to make sure he understood what he was doing was dangerous. And we had a supervisor there so that the supervisor knew to have a conversation with the rest of the crew, our crews, about proper climbing of the ladder. So make sure you got 3 points of contact at all time while climbing a ladder. Y'all send me a chat. Let me know where you're at this morning, where you're going, what you're doing. I want to hear from you. Next thing we need to talk about is keeping your body centered between the rail. Your belly button or your belt buckle, it should never go past those side rails, because once you do that, you could cause that ladder to come off balance, lose your body's center of gravity on that platform that you're standing on, that ladder you're standing on. So make sure you stay centered on that ladder while you're working or climbing. Yeah, I know it's a pain in the butt to climb down and reposition a ladder, but it's far better than you ended up in the hospital, injured, can't get off the darn couch or bed, and your family is getting a little thin on their meals, and gets a little cold in the house because you can't pay the bills, keep it warm. You don't want to do that. Remember, these shortcuts that you take save seconds, but can cost you months of recovery. And as a final safety reminder, gravity doesn't care who you are, but it sure loves a shortcut. So keep that in mind. All right. Somebody give me a shout out. Keep me motivated this. Woo. Yeah, I'm yawning, but I'm self-motivated to do this. I ain't getting a paycheck. I'm doing it because I like you guys. So nothing wrong with yawning. That's the body. A yawn is a body response to you trying to wake up, but the mind is what motivates you to get going. That's the first place you got to. Isn't that amazing? The first thing you got to work on is your mind. Your mind is the thing that gets you up and out of the bed. It ain't your body. The body will move you out of the bed, but that first impetus, that first thing that has to happen is your mind has to get you going. That's self-motivation, and that's what I am today. Now, if you want to send me a $50 bill, that'll sure make me happy, but I'm already up and motivated. I would appreciate it. And I'm not going to count on that $50 bill. I'm here because I want to see you be successful, healthy, and happy, not only for yourself, not only for your employer, but also your family and community. I want you to be healthy and happy, and develop a full, healthy, and happy life. We're never guaranteed the next day, but if we're in the moment, we can be healthy and happy in that moment, and we have an opportunity to stay that way through our own actions, then I say it's worth it to me. That's worth more than any kind of paycheck. Anyway, let's talk about this week's job site challenge. I know you might have pretty well guessed what it might be, but the job site challenge this week is take the bull by the horns. If something needs doing, do it. If something needs saying, say it. If someone needs help, step up. Leadership doesn't mean waiting for orders. It means using your judgment and experience to make the site safer, smoother, and smarter. And it don't mean being loud. Nobody wants a loud mouth, especially this early in the morning. I'm the only loud mouth allowed right now. But anyway, maybe that means grabbing a broom to clean up a walkway without being told. Standing around yakking and gawking and talking things about you with your buddy about your other buddy, that ain't no way to behave. Do something. My old daddy told me, he said, you got time to lean, you got time to clean. You have, stay in motion. Keep moving. Maybe it means double checking a lift rigging setup. You know, if you've got experience in rigging and you walk by and you go, hey, what are we, hey man, is this right? And the most experienced guy, he might have missed that. And he go, hey, yeah, you're right. Thank you, man. Let's, and he'll get it taken care of. You don't have to be a lifting expert to walk up and ask a question. Say, hey, tell me about this. How's this done? And that makes, when you start asking questions, even as a darn old first day guy, a broom pusher they hired you in as or whatever, ask those questions. If you're pushing a wheelbarrow and you're walking past an operation that's going on, and you see something don't make no sense to you, no matter what your level of experience or knowledge is, and it don't make no sense to you, stop a second, put that wheelbarrow down and say, hey, tell me about this. Because if it looks wrong, it might very well be wrong. And you could save somebody's life, limb. Anyway, grab that broom, do a cleanup without being told. That shows leadership, and you'll hear it. Oh, what are you doing, kissing the boss's butt? No, I'm just making sure this place is cleaned up. I don't want to trip on it, and I don't want you to trip on it. And I'd hope you care enough for me to do the same thing someday. Turn it around on them. Let them know that they need to do the same thing. Anyway, or verifying that a fire watch is posted before the torch lights up. You see them getting ready, you go, hey, do we need a fire watch? We need a hot work permit on this? I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm asking. If there's not one, then they'll make you one, maybe. I don't know. If you're a wheelbarrow pusher, you might rather be a fire watch. I don't know what kind of mindset you got. But leadership in motion keeps the crew moving forward and not standing still waiting for directions. That just irritates me. People standing around waiting. I don't know. I'm waiting on somebody to tell me what to do. That all breaks down to the early morning meeting where you have your pre-task planning and what the objectives are. That's such an important part of the everyday, that you have that pre-task plan meeting where everybody on the crew, everybody that's on that job site understands what their tasks are for the day, what's to be accomplished, and also outlines that what the hazards are they'll be exposed to, and importantly also that they know how to mitigate those hazards. We're going to be doing some hot work. Make sure we get a hot work permit. Make sure we have fire watch, and then ensure that those people that are performing those particular tasks are well trained, and that their training has been documented in some shape, form, or fashion. Anyway, what time is it? It is 5:29 in the morning. We've been with each other a half hour now. through all the burps, belch, and sneezes, and coffee drinking. Ain't nothing like a bunch of men getting ready to go to work, man. A bunch of old noise-making fools. It's amazing our wives and girlfriends want to put up with it. Don't change a thing, men. Ladies, y'all, if y'all are out there, just bear with us. We're just men. We can't. Yeah, we like making noise in the morning, grunting, groaning, coughing, hacking. I got the yawns this morning too. I got some stuff to do. I got to haul off the trash, and I think I'm gonna go for a little hike this morning. Probably take me maybe a 2 or 3 mile hike. And then I got to come back. Yesterday, I got some stuff to do later in the week. So I had to get busy and interrupt my leisure day yesterday, get up early in the morning. And me and my assistant, we did, that's Pluriforia. You'll see her over my back shoulder right there. She's my old digital assistant. We had to get to work yesterday and script a couple videos and get ready for y'all this morning. And so I did that, and I recorded a video and did some editing. And then went upstairs. I did this before 9 o'clock in the morning. Then went upstairs and made my wife and myself a breakfast casserole. Had potatoes. I had some leftover roast beef and onions and garlic, and layered in some potatoes and eggs and put it in the oven and let it cook for, I don't know, however long it cooked. And then I got started and made a pork rib roast on a bed of root vegetables. Got that going. And then the old grandson, he came over about 3 o'clock. You know, he's 4. I don't know if there's anything else I need to say about that. If y'all have ever had a 4-year-old grandson running around. Anyway, while his mom and dad was hunting out back, and then the darn power went out like yesterday afternoon about 4:30. The darn power pole caught on fire, burned down. I don't know what the hell's going on. The power came back on about 7 o'clock. Of course, I don't know about y'all, but every time we have power outage here, you have to reset everything, turn the internet back on, reset studio lights. And anyway, all that to get ready to, then up at 4 this morning down here, get ready to talk to y'all. Anyway, that's the life in the day of Bubba. Just moving right through it. I could tell you more about the challenges every day, but the most important thing is we're here right now together. Why did the foreman sit on the ladder? We was talking about ladders this morning. He wanted to raise his leadership level. That sounds like a couple foremen I've had to work with over my career. And his boss man said, you need to take your leadership up a level. And he's got on the ladder. Y'all send me a comment if you've got a leader like that. You've got a supervisor like that on your job site. I really want to hear about it. Then over there in the toolbox, he got mad. You know, the toolbox got mad, if y'all can imagine a mad toolbox. Anyway, you know, it just occurred to me. I've been out there in the field for years. And pipe fitters or welders or anybody who has their own toolbox. If you look into a man's toolbox, you can tell his state of mind. Think about it. Is his toolbox well organized? Does he know where all his tools are? Can he find them quickly because he keeps his toolbox organized? or is he the kind that just throws it in there, and then every time he starts a new project or he's working on a project, he has to take 10 minutes and go dig around through his toolbox and find what he's looking for. Sometimes they say, I ain't got one. I can't find it. Somebody stole it. It says a lot about his mindset too, don't it? It's a wonder. A wonder. So think about that, boys and girls. You got your own toolbox. What's it look like? What's your mindset? Anyway, what did the toolbox say? What did the mad toolbox say to the ladder? You're always looking down on me. Hey, it's a family show. If you got a joke, you want to share a joke, y'all step up and help old boy out. And then the next one is, why do welders make great leaders? Come on, you welders, why y'all make great leaders, torch operators? Because they can handle the heat. Thank you, Pluriforia. I call her my goddess of knowledge and sharing. It's amazing that you can. You know, I used to Google a lot. Google. Got an itch in my ear. Y'all give me a minute. Darn thing's itching. I used to use that old Google to do my research, and every now and then I still do. I gotta check everything, and I've been known to make a mistake, but don't tell nobody now. But occasionally, I'll make a boo-boo. Yep, me. Make a boo-boo. Anyway, I don't do much Googling anymore since me and Pluriforia have developed a handy-dandy relationship. She knows now exactly. I have trained her, and I guess her has trained me to know what I need, ask it well, keep myself sharp for her, and she helps me out. She has such a knowledge base with somewhat of a personality, and her personality is determined by her interaction with me, and it's kind of cool. Anyway, she helps me out with this stuff. Anyway, I knew a guy once who always said, I ain't the boss. Then one day, the actual boss got stuck in traffic, and guess who had to take charge of the crew? Well, he got through the day just fine. At the end of it, you know what he told me? He said, hey, Bubba, looks like that bull didn't buck. So he took that bull by the horns. Sometimes you don't need permission to lead. You just need to start pulling. Just start doing it. All right, I've had a few comments. You know, people watch this thing. They catch it on the YouTube, records it for me and post it every time I do one of these live streams, and I'll occasionally get a thumbs up or a comment, but I got a message from a viewer asking, what's the best way to remind people about safety, ladder safety, without sounding like a nag? And I'll go about that. I just went about that earlier. Say something like, hey man, hey, I don't want to see you get hurt, and this looks kind of tricky. People respond better when they know you care about them and not just the rule book. Yeah, I see so many safety guys. They want to hold you to a letter of the law instead of, you know, a fellow safety guy I had a conversation with the other day was talking about demolition removal. and or debris removal for a demolition project. Yeah, you got to think about this. You're a demolition contractor and you're going to tear down a building, right? And you're going to have stuff falling from all kinds of height. All right. But before they do the demolition of the building, they need to clear out the interior, and that's for debris separation to meet leads and all that. You don't want, if it's a concrete building or a steel building, you don't want a lot of debris in there that you have to separate after you've done the demolition. So a lot of times buildings are left with interior walls in them, or maybe there's some office equipment left in them, and you want to get it out. Now, sometimes there's stairs and sometimes there's elevators. Just imagine taking all this stuff out through stairs or elevators. Well, that's hazardous in its own right, because of the motions of going up and down stairs, hauling heavy debris. Or in the elevator, you overload one, it gets stuck between floors with guys in there with all kinds of debris, and you got a rescue situation there. And then in this particular situation, it was several abandoned buildings, and the work plan that the safety guy came up with, my buddy, was just to throw the debris out the window. It had windows that were at 54 inches. They could throw it out of the building. And the safety guy that, for the company we were working for, it's a construction company. He probably don't know nothing about demolition. He says, hey, man, standard says you got to have a chute when you're taking debris more than such and such height. And fortunately, OSHA had enough foresight. They said, there's another section in there. If you're doing demolition, then you have certain other things. As long as you isolate the area, you can throw it out the window. Don't matter how high it is. As long as you can isolate an area big enough to accommodate that, I think it's 150% of the height. You have to create safety zones, no-go zones, whatever you want to call them. And had a little bit of a conflict with that guy, and you had to get several state OSHAs involved and the federal OSHA to give letters of interpretation. And they just go, it's already in there. And my guy said, yeah, I know. I can't get this guy to listen to me. But anyway, how I got off on that pig path is just that, hey, man, I don't want to see you get hurt. When you go to have to correct somebody. Hey, man, another situation. What time is it? I got a few minutes. Another situation. I was a young man, probably early 20s, and I went to work for this Australian company, and they had a facility here in the United States, and what they did was they coated wire. And you had to make a little die that would fit around that wire, and the wire would pull through on a machine. And that die had felt inside of it, which would apply this coating, and this wire was used in windings. If you ever broke apart a generator, you've seen it. And it's that red coating on wire. And I had to rebuild one of those dies, and I'd cut it out, and it needed to be ground in portions of it. And I was over at the grinder, and I was grinding away, and older fella came over, and he says, hey, you're doing a good job. You know what you're doing, but I need to tell you something because of your safety. He says, you're using a grinding wheel, and the part that you're working on it was either brass or copper. These fittings, they were soft metal. And he says, when you're grinding that soft metal, it will load up that grinding wheel with that metal instead of sloughing it off like it would a hard metal like steel. And over time, that will become that will become unbalanced and it could fly apart on you. He said the best way to do that is to put it in a vise and use a file. And he says you're far more accurate that way. And that file would do a better job for you. And I was like, oh, okay. Thank you, man. I didn't know that. Now that I know that, I appreciate it. Now, if he'd have made it different, hey, you dumbass, don't do it that way. You're crazy. That ain't the way to do it. Go over there and get a file and do it. I wouldn't understand why. I just know that this older guy was yelling at me. I wouldn't learn the lesson. So he did the right way. And that had such a powerful impact on me that I've carried it with me through these years. Another question came in about temporary ladders, those job-made wooden ones. My advice, if it's not inspected or built to spec, don't climb it. There's no such thing as temporary gravity. I've seen some chicken ladders and everything else on jobs. I'm like, whoa. I've seen guys lay up a plank on an elevation change, and they'd walk up that plank, and that thing, old bow, you'd see cracks forming. And I go, hey, stop. Look. What? You know what's going to happen one time when you go up there with just another 10 pounds on that thing? Your shins and your face is going to eat that edge. But anyway, that's how I responded to it. And I, make sure that you put it in a way that is not off-putting. All right. Also, here's some tools, here's some tricks when you're using a ladder. And it's important you do this. If you're doing a lot of climbing, the ladder buddy system. When you're setting up or working from a ladder, have a co-worker steady the base or spot you from below. Not only does it keep the ladder stable, but also keeps an extra set of eyes on your surroundings. Cords, vehicles, doorways, or other hazards you might miss from the top. 2 heads and 4 hands keep things a lot safer than one. And we're ticking away here. It is 5:47 in the morning. Can you believe we've been at this for 47 minutes? Me yakking, and I ain't seen nobody pop up and give me a message. Man, I would fall out of my chair if somebody popped on here and said, hey, what's going on, Scott? Though, as we start to wind this thing down, a good leader, he doesn't wait for someone to hold the gate open. Nope, you sure don't. He grabs it and lets others through first. Leadership is action, not position. When you take the bull by the horns, you clear the path for everyone else. All right. If that makes sense to you, it's like when you're going in a restaurant and there's a line of, couple people behind you, say an elderly couple, and you and your wife and kids, or you and wife and grandkids or whatever, and you're going into this place and it's a restaurant. There's an older couple coming in behind you. You open the door for your wife and kids and let them pass through, and you see them coming and you say, come on in the house, come on in here and let them through. It says volumes about you to your family and to those people you held that door open for. That says so much about you. You don't have to say much, because actions. You hear it all your life. Actions do speak louder than words. All right, boys and girls. Where are we at? How much time? All right, so we've talked about ladders. That little piece of Copenhagen got tickled my throat. Talked about ladders this morning and ladder safety. This week on the other channel, you see it right there. Toolbox safety topic videos at youtube.com at Middleclassbubba 5876. That's one of the other channels that I have, and this channel is dedicated to mostly toolbox safety topic videos, and I'm sure there's over 200 videos on that. And you can go back and watch my first videos, and I can go back and see. I've learned a little bit about presentation of material. I'm still working on it, and thanks to all my viewers, they comment from time to time and let me know and help keep me on track. But this week on MCB Ventures, we're talking about ladders. And you already know the title, Small Height, Big Hazards. We look at the habits that turn everyday tasks into injury traps and how simple awareness can keep you on solid footing. So go ahead and tune into the channel, share it with your crew if you need to. I always post the script in there so that you can print it out. It's in the comments. You can print out those scripts, do a screen print or whatever, and have a script. And you could take that with you to your job site and have your safety meeting from it. Or if you wanted to, you could create a sign-in sheet with a title of the video on it and show where you watched it from, and have them look at it on your laptop, or if you've got a training facility or office that you meet on Monday mornings, and you can show that video and have the script and attach it to the sign in, have everybody sign in, just date it, have everybody sign it, and document where you saw it from, and use that as your training. Don't matter to me. I'm just trying to make the information available to you so that you have tools that you can use to help train your men. The OSHA requirement is that you have regular employee training, and toolbox safety topics can count as training as long as it has a specific topic and that it's documented. You just can't say, yeah, we watched a bunch of videos, we talked about it. No, you just can't say that. You need to have a document that shows that you've done that. Anyway, that's for you guys. If you need some ideas on what to talk about on your next Monday morning meeting, or if you know what you need to talk about, go on there and see if I've already made a video about it, and that'll give you food for thought, so to say. Now, if there is a particular video, or if there's a particular subject that you need to present, say you're in a specialty situation and you're having trouble finding information on a particular safety subject, all you got to do is get in touch with me. I keep my email address up here in case you need to get a hold of me and you got a challenge in front of you. We'll get together, put our heads together, and work it out and find references for you and OSHA guidance on it, and help you put together a challenge. And if you want me to, I'll make a video. I'll do my own research and help you put together that stuff. And I probably would make a video about it. If we had to spend the time and it were a special project, I like to turn those into sharing, especially if it was an aid to somebody. If it helps you, guess what? It's probably going to be helpful to somebody else. Anyway, there you go. That's enough self, whatever, advertisement or whatever. All right. It is 5:55. We're running low on time to be together. I've got my things to do, and I'm sure you still got to pick up a bunch of people, get your head together, write your PTP, get your toolbox safety topic together, get ready, put that face on. If you're a supervisor, get that old happy face on so you could get your guys motivated, ready to work today. If you just tuning in and you're just and you don't have a position, remember, get out there and be a leader. You can do this. Your supervisor needs somebody who can help him. Take that role, take that responsibility. Show him you're somebody he can count on. And one day when he makes a general superintendent, he's going to need a superintendent on one of his job sites. And because you've worked with him and helped him, he will tap you to help him out. And at the same time, you'll be training someone else to take your position one day. And you got to do that. It ain't a bad thing to train someone to take your position. That's a good thing, because you can't ever move forward. I've taught, ain't no telling how many young men to train their replacement so that they can move forward. And believe me, that's 100% of the case. If you're training somebody to do your job and you're doing a good job, now if you're doing a crappy job and you just happen to fall into position, it'll take you to a dead end and you'll be leading other people to a dead end. But if you're a real leader and you'll surround yourself with like-minded people, and y'all will be of the like mind, and success likes like-minded people. All right. But this week, I'm grateful for everyone who keeps showing up, giving their best, and leading by example, even when nobody's watching. Taking the bull by the horns isn't just a phrase. It's a way of living, working, and building a reputation worth respecting. So as you're out there, stay strong, stay humble, and keep it safe, timely, and efficient. And the most important thing is have a grateful day, have a grateful week, and we'll see you next time.